Yeah, she's calling back. We're going to try to give her a call again, and then she just added another phone number to the 13-year-old grandson who's possibly with the daughter. Step out with this.
2412.
Veteran crisis hotline calling in, so they have a female veteran's off her medication. She's at work to Safe Haven. Detecting 12, take a check that one out.
6 Rumble, 2 1 start, take a shot.
Also still stands for talk? No. Offender in custody? Thanks. Anyone else close by 50 result, let me know. First number. 10-4.
2 1 start, take a shot.
Also still stands for talk? No. Offender in custody? Thanks. Anyone else close by 50 result, let me know. 10-5.
33. Can you let us supervisor know that I have a case report?
1830. I'm sorry, we're not copying. Try that one more time, puppy. 847 Fulton. 847 Fulton, okay. 43 friends of Peter Samara, so domestic battery at 1817 North Winchester, 1835 North Winchester. Danny stated the caller and the owner of the vehicle. Thank you. 111 113 Robert 11.
Yes, here we go tonight. Oh, we got a show for you all. Oh, do we got a show for you all? Thank you all for hopping in. Appreciate you. I'm still sick as hell. But we're back here tonight. We got some things to talk about. Particularly Mr. EG. So I put out a video a couple days ago about why he's always been so sus to me. And there were some things I mentioned, how he wasn't the real neighbor 1,200 feet away, how Steve G considers him fam. Made some interesting comments to Steve G about what he thinks. Also made some interesting comments to some news stations about what he thinks. There's some people out there that are promoting that he lived in Washington State at the time of the crime. That's not true. There's still this connection with the 1,200 feet away and it being Eric G, and it's not. So what I decided to do is I was like, why don't we just have a night where we just talk a little bit about Eric G? We'll go ahead and show you everything. This is stuff that we uncovered back in early mid 2023. There's some videos out there that I already have from back then. That's why he's been sus to me ever since the beginning. And then also I got some updates for you all when it comes to what I'm calling the real suspect vehicle one as they're leaving the scene of the crime. Because it's like I said before, we don't know what time. Oh, that car could have been sitting there, parked in its normal parking spot. We don't know what time the person got to the scene of the crime, but we do know what time the person got inside the scene of the crime, and we do know what time that person left the scene of the crime. And so when it comes to those two photos, obviously they're different vehicles. That's just me. But we got some updates, and I got some things for you to see and things for you to hear when it comes to what I'm saying is the real suspect vehicle one leaving. Can't wait to show you that. Also, a little video of the taillights as they start to get a little bit of distance. You see the glow that you do on the picture of that person leaving the scene of the crime. So when it comes to that update, I'm pretty confident I did some more digging last night. I've done some more digging today. I'm pretty confident at what this vehicle is. And I told you guys once I feel confident about a vehicle, we're going to go ahead and do that members only where we dig through all of my Idaho 4 footage, the raw footage. And we're going to see if we can find this car because, like I told you, I was there a year to the day. I went there for the year anniversary, for the year vigil, and I always had this vibe. I always had this vibe that that person was still there, that person was at the vigil. And so that's why we're gonna the members only, it's gonna be us just digging through footage, screenshots, zooming in, analyzing, going through all of it, and it'll probably be a it's gonna be a multi-series because there's a lot of footage to dig through. And when you're when you're digging into footage, we're going to be digging into it together on the show. Then I'm going to be getting the raw footage out, screenshotting the raw footage 4K. And then that way we can zoom in and really analyze everything. And so I thought I'd do that for you all. It's a lot of video and footage I have never released before. So you're going to see some footage that I haven't even shown other people, and we're going to do that for members only, at least the first couple episodes, and then after that we'll probably open it up. But it might even end up being a nightly, daily thing because there's a lot of footage, and I don't want to drag this out like 2 months because of the footage. So I'm probably going to be, once we start it tomorrow, we're going to go head first, and we're going to go through all of it and every day, maybe miss a day here and there, but we're definitely going to be digging through that footage because I really feel like I'm going to find that car. That'll be tomorrow. So I want to go through some stuff, and thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. Saturday night. We're going to go through this stuff. I'm going to go through a whole bunch of the stuff that I've been saying and repeating on the show, and we're just going to go through it all. We're going to talk a little bit about Eric G. Very interesting. So the first thing that I want to show you, and please hit the like if you haven't yet, and I want to say thanks to all the new subs as well. Thank you for checking out the channel, and thank you all for being here. Thank you for your ticket numbers as well. All right, so I have everything set up for you guys tonight. So we're going to kind of be going through everything in a particular order that I put together for you all. Okay, so the first thing that I want to show you is just like the comment that I said last night, the last few days, and even the video about Eric G that I put out a couple days ago. Why is Eric G so sus to me? Here's why. Always been sus. So, when it comes to this 1,200 foot away from Koberger, a neighbor, how it was Eric G. I'm going to show you the article where it morphs things together. But I'm going to show you the difference and how that's not even possible. Just like when I told you guys, they morphed the real. Because I'm not saying that Eric G didn't drive around on December 7th through the 10th, writing down 14 to 15 Hyundai Elantras. I've stated that the whole time. What I'm trying to tell you is Eric G was never a neighbor. Never. He couldn't have been a neighbor. In fact, it would be more like 12 miles away, not 1,200 feet. The first thing I'm going to show you is, and I've redacted information because I'm not trying to put dude's phone number or addresses or family members or anything like that. Like I said, I looked this dude up way back then. I looked at his record. I checked everything. But I'm going to show you something, and this is just really simple to start off the show tonight. So when it comes to Mr. Eric G, whoops, why is my face so small? Hold on. StreamYard, I don't know what the hell, man. Hold on 1 second. Freaking StreamYard. Actually, I have to drop me down a little bit here. And Jennifer P, thank you so much for the gifted membership. And Supergirl got that. Thank you so much, Jennifer P. With the hearts. Thank you so much. Now, this right here, like I said, I redacted the information because I'm not trying to put the dude's relatives. I'm not trying to put his phone numbers. I'm not trying to put his addresses. But what I wanted to show you is that when the crime took place, Eric G did not. Eric G did not live in Washington State. Now, maybe he lived in Washington State before because, like I said, there's that little button that says more, and I ain't interested in that because we went all the way back to 2006. So all the way from 2006 that I'm showing you, July 2009 to March 2024, and then current address, there is no address for Mr. Eric G. So there is no possible way that Eric G could have been the neighbor that lived 1,200 feet away from Koberger. I put out a video a long time ago about the real neighbor that turned in Koberger, turned in a tip. The real neighbor. Remember when law enforcement went out there at the end of November? Washington State, Moscow, they both went out there at the end of November, looked at the vehicle. Eric G didn't go get his list until December 7th through the 10th. Do you see where I'm going? Eric G was not the neighbor that lived 1,200 feet away. So when you see this stuff in these documents that are no, this is something that we've been telling you for the last couple years. The dude was not the neighbor. I told you guys that they morphed it together to make it look real good, didn't they? Yes, they did. But he was not the real neighbor. I'm going to show you the real neighbor, okay? Remember when I said that the real neighbor left the country? The real neighbor turned in about the DNA ancestry. The real neighbor that was 1,200 feet away went on walks with him where they talked about the DNA ancestry test. The real neighbor called Moscow PD and told them about the vehicle, the Hyundai. The real neighbor. Isn't it quite a twist what they're willing to do? Yes, the imposter, Mishy girl. The imposter. We're going to have a little talk about Mr. Eric G, so that way the confusion out there, because listen, there's channels way bigger than me that are still discussing Eric G as the neighbor that lived 1,200 feet away. Like I said, this information's been out for 2 years. I still don't understand how things can get twisted. So here's the real neighbor, okay? And I'm going to share these links with you guys so you can have them for yourself. So let's get that up there. I'm going to show you the real neighbor. This is the article from the real neighbor. And I'll share this link with you. Give me 1 second. Koberger told neighbor of prior DNA test, raising questions about how police found him. Now, see, this article was released January 17th, 2023. We discussed it in the spring, summer of 2023. Now, Koberger told neighbor of prior DNA test, raising questions about how police found him. Right, Caddy? Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Come on now. We're going to talk a little bit about Eric G tonight. Pullman, Brian Koberger told Pullman. There's your first indicator. Brian Koberger told a fellow Washington State University graduate student living in the same on-campus housing complex that he submitted his DNA for consumer genetic testing to explore his ancestry, the neighbor told Idaho Statesman. I'm going to repeat that. A fellow Washington State University graduate student that was living in the same on-campus housing complex. Does that sound like Eric G? I don't think so. Koberger, 28, was a PhD student in WSU's Criminal Justice and Criminology Department. He now stands charged with 4 counts of first degree, unaliving, and felony burglary in the unaliving of 4 University of Idaho students on November 13th. Koberger's neighbor said the two became acquainted. What's up, Yvonne? Koberger's neighbor said the two became acquainted while crossing paths on the residential property a handful of times after they each moved there in August. The WSU PhD student lives across from the apartment where Koberger resided until recently, and he said the two traded cell phone numbers. So when it comes to Mr. Koberger's apartment, right? 1,200 feet. Yes, this neighbor did live 1,200 feet. No, this neighbor was not Eric G. So when you see this photo pop up, where do you think that neighbor lived? Right there. Did Eric G ever live at Steptoe Apartments? I don't know. Let's go back again real quick. Let me check. No, he didn't. All right, let's go back to this article. The WSU PhD student lives across from the apartment where Koberger resided until recently, and he said the two traded cell phone numbers. In their longest interaction on the first Friday night of the fall semester, they spent about an hour chatting, the man said. The statesman agreed to grant him anonymity over privacy concerns to publish his account of his exchange with Koberger, including that conversation months before Koberger was arrested. See, that August evening, the two graduate students ran into one another in the large housing complex's parking lot next to their buildings. The man said during an interview at his apartment, Koberger then asked if he wanted to walk and talk. He said, and the two got to know each other a little while taking laps around the asphalt parking area. During their discussion, Koberger asked his neighbor, who is not from the U.S. Let me read that again. Koberger asked his neighbor, who is not from the U.S., whether he could identify Koberger's ancestral background, the man said. The neighbor said he guessed Italy before Koberger stated that he was of German descent. He talked about his ancestors, the 30-year-old neighbor said. He had some sort of DNA test. I don't know how he got to that point. It was just interesting to him. The detail could shed new light on growing reports that investigators used public genealogy databases to land on Koberger as the alleged killer, citing law enforcement sources, multiple news outlets, including Fox News, CNN, and ABC News, reported as early as the day after Koberger's arrest that police employed the forensic technique to narrow their focus to Koberger, while making no mention of the contentious method in the probable cause affidavit used to justify taking him into custody. A single source of male DNA was recovered. Again, this is from January 2023. A single source of male DNA was recovered from the button snap on a K-Bar brand leather knife sheath found on the bed next to the body of one of the 4 victims, police said. Police later matched the DNA from trash discarded at the Koberger's home in eastern Pennsylvania, where Koberger was visiting his family for the winter break, to the profile taken from the knife sheath, according to the affidavit. However, investigators didn't hone in on Koberger and seek a search warrant for his cell phone data until after the Investigative Genetic Genealogy (IGG) results came back identifying him. A law enforcement source with knowledge of the investigation told Slate. What's up, Danny? Thank you for hopping in. Thank you all for being here. We're talking a little bit about Eric G. Police said they first became aware of Koberger on November 29th when a WSU police officer researched the white Hyundai Elantra at the university while seeking information about such vehicles related to the crime, according to the affidavit. Now, like I just said in the beginning of the show, and I've always said, they went there at the end of November. They already knew about the Hyundai Elantra. And guess where they knew about it from? Not from Eric G, because Eric G wasn't even out on the road checking for cars yet. Eric G didn't even go looking until a week later. About a half hour later, another WSU officer located Koberger's vehicle parked outside his on-campus apartment. Police said law enforcement obtained search warrants for records of cell phones that use cell towers close to the area of the King Road home in Moscow where the victims were killed as part of the investigation, the affidavit said, without providing a date. Based on evidence, police believe the homicides occurred between 4 and 4:25 a.m., but Koberger's phone did not register in the area between 3 and 5 a.m. On December 23rd, investigators obtained another search warrant for expanded records of Koberger's cell phone, dating to when police said he opened the account with AT&T on June 23rd, 2022, the affidavit read. The record showed him in the vicinity of his WSU apartment at 2:42 a.m. and appearing to leave the area 5 minutes later, with his phone not reporting to the network again until 4:48. South of Moscow along US 95 near Blaine, Idaho, and north of Genesee. Further review of the record showed Koberger's cell phone in the area of the King Road home from 9:12 a.m. to 9:21 a.m. on November 23rd, police said. In addition, his cell phone appeared to be in the same area at least a dozen times prior to that date, according to the affidavit. And according to the affidavit, if you read the affidavit, it says that his cell phone connected to the tower that 1122 utilizes. Now, that range is quite a range. The range for that tower actually reaches southeast Pullman. You can be in Pullman and still register on the cell phone tower that 1122 utilizes. Now, check this out right here. A very serious person. Koberger's neighbor told the Statesman that he went back in his home nation. Koberger's neighbor told the Statesman that he was back in his home nation for WSU's winter break. When he heard police arrested a suspect in the Moscow case. A friend posted a message in a group. Remember, I told you he left the country. A friend posted a message in the group WhatsApp thread. He said nothing, that the person lived in the man's housing complex. He said he immediately searched for more information on Google and saw that Koberger was the person accused in the deaths of the UNI seniors Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonsalves, juniors Annika Rodel, and freshman Ethan Chapin. It's shocking, the man said, still seeing his picture on the news. It's very shocking. He thought back to Koberger owning a white Hyundai Elantra that he parked in the lot where they walked together several months earlier. Moscow police were seeking information about anyone driving such a vehicle after they obtained video footage from the early morning hours of November 13th that showed a white sedan in the area of the King Road homicides. The last time he saw Koberger, the man said, was either the last week of November or the first week of December. 2 or 3 weeks after the incident, roughly 9 miles away, which quickly drew national attention to the region. The neighbors said they greeted each other in passing, and he didn't notice or remember anything different about Koberger from that short interaction. He jogged his memory with the Statesman on Sunday, recalling his walk with Koberger in August, when he said was his only substantive conversation with his neighbor. Their other exchanges entailed the two students just saying hello, and Koberger suggested they go on a hike together sometime. As they strolled the complex's parking lot at the end of the fall semester's first week of classes, they talked over the sounds in the area of college students socializing, he said. Many people were partying, and you could hear it all over the city, the neighbor said. He was not into partying. He said they're wasting their time, something like that. I'm going to read that again. Many people, and this is the same dude that left the country right after he contacted Moscow PD, left the country, and listen to what he says here. Many people here were partying, and you could hear it all over the city, the neighbor said. He said he was not into partying. He said that they're wasting their time. Something like that. Koberger shared with him that he ate only one meal per day. The man said Koberger is vegan and has requested his meals in jail be in accordance with his preferred diet, News Nation reported. Over the course of Koberger and his neighbor's conversation, which included discussion of their areas of research in separate WSU doctoral programs, the man said he couldn't recall Koberger ever smiling or laughing. He was kind of serious, a very serious person, the neighbor said. Investigators also appear interested in the man's recollection of Koberger. Detectives with the Moscow Police Department last week contacted him about their relationship, he said, after they found his cell phone number in Koberger's phone. So they found his cell phone number in Koberger's phone and then reached out to him. Just how we met each other. What was his personality? These kind of things, he told the Statesman, declining to offer more specifics, citing the nature of the situation and law enforcement's involvement. Moscow police captain, remember, I called the new chief back then too, because if you watch that video where I discussed it way back then, before even Dollinger became the chief, before Dollinger even became the chief. When I was reading this article back then, I said, Moscow Police Chief Captain. Freeze! Spokesperson for the department would not confirm To the Statesman that investigators contacted and interviewed the neighbor, citing a gag order in the case. Latah County Judge Megan Marshall, remember this was January of 23, issued a non-dissemination order on January 3rd, barring law enforcement and attorneys from making statements outside of submitted court records. The neighbor also said he provided police with a screenshot of his and Koberger's brief text thread, which included just two messages, starting off with the man confirming his number to Koberger after their August 26th walk. They allowed just a screenshot from this individual. The police allowed just a screenshot of his text messages, not, hey, can we send an officer out there shortly? Hey, do you mind stopping down in the office so we can take a look at the phone? We just want a screenshot, and we're good. I don't know, it's weird. The screenshot reviewed by the Statesman included a phone number with an Eastern Washington area code. What's up, Amy? With the last four digits 8458. In the affidavit, police previously identified Koberger's cell phone number having the same last four digits. Let's just take a screenshot. Hey, neighbor. How was your semester so far? A text dated September 21st that appeared to be from Koberger. He's a very serious guy. He's a very serious guy. Hey, neighbor. How's your semester so far? Damn, that sounds real serious, don't it? The neighbor said he was too busy to reply at the time and then later forgot. The two didn't text again. So when I read this part up here, where it says, he said he was not into partying. He said they're just wasting their time. How do we know you don't feel like that, bro? The neighbor said he didn't return to Pullman until after investigators performed a search of Koberger's apartment on December 30th. Remember, he was out of the country, ladies and gentlemen. He was out of the country until after Koberger was arrested. A Whitman County Superior Court judge sealed those search warrants until March 1st, citing threats to the public and law enforcement and maintaining the integrity of the investigation. It says here, other neighbors recall night owl, mention of homicides. What's up, Moto Cherry? On Sunday, when a Statesman reporter visited Koberger's apartment building, nearby tenants were mostly reluctant to answer questions. The resident directly below Koberger's second-story unit had a sign taped to the front door, "No interviews, thank you." Several other neighbors either declined Statesman's request to speak about Koberger or said they didn't know him. Angela Alvarez, a WSU senior psychology major, lives with her family in the other first floor unit in Koberger's building, but said she was unavailable to talk. She previously told the Daily Beast that Koberger was a night owl who generally kept to himself. He was frequently gone, Alvarez said, and she rarely seen him before midnight. He would usually park his white Hyundai Elantra right in front of her unit. I always see his headlights flash in my front windows. The parking space was one of the few vacant in front of the building. As police took Koberger into custody in eastern Pennsylvania, they also seized his vehicle. Another unidentified neighbor told CBS News last week that Koberger at one point mentioned the Moscow killings to him. What's up, Matthew? He brought it up in conversation and asked if I had heard about the murders, which I did, the man said. And then he said, "It seems like they have no leads. It seems like it was a crime of passion." Moscow Mayor Art Besh used the same phrase a day after the homicides in an interview with the New York Times before walking it back as just one of a number of possibilities. A classmate at Koberger's in WSU's Graduate Criminal Justice and Criminology program told the Statesman earlier this month that Koberger was known for being outspoken and sharing his opinions during class. But when the nearby homicides were brought up during a class discussion, Koberger stayed quiet, which I'm sure a lot of people did, right? He was completely silent, the classmate said. Koberger made his second appearance, and then we'll go ahead and leave the rest because it just talks more about the case back then as of January 2023. Again, if you want to have the link to this article, here it is for you. And if you aren't able to see it on live chat and you are on the screen, go ahead and take a screenshot and then type it in your web browser. Did Eric G. leave the country? No. When did Eric G. turn in that list of 14 to 15 Hyundai Elantras? December 10th. Because from December 10th or December 7th until December 10th, he was getting a list. Why'd you wait so long? And yes, there is a Hyundai Elantra in the family. I'll just say that. And it's white. Okay. There's a Hyundai Elantra in the family, and it's white. Now, did he ever live in Washington State again? No, he didn't. There is no way that Eric, and you're going to see this in these articles and all this other stuff, you're going to see it. It's like I told you, they morphed it together. You're going to see it. You're going to see all this discussion about he was the neighbor and this and that and that. No. That's why we're having a little conversation tonight. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to listen to this section, Chronicles of Olivia, because when I told you that Steve G said that Mr. Mister was like family, I'm going to play his words for you, and you will see and hear him say that Mr. Mister was like a part of the family. So I want to shout out Chronicles Olivia. Let me pull the screen up. I want to say shout out to her. She did this interview. Here's her link. If you want to check out the whole video, I'll drop the link for you in the live chat, but we're only going to be checking out about 5 minutes of it. So give me 1 second. Let me put this up here so I'll have it displayed on the screen as we go through it. So there's Chronicles of Olivia. All right, we're going to check this out. Now we get to about the 1850 timestamp. And it's a beautiful interview. If nobody's seen it, I highly suggest that you check it out. It's a great interview from Olivia. We're just going to be checking out a small portion, but if you haven't seen it yet, I encourage everybody to check it out because it is a really good interview. And it's an interview, let me see when it took place. January 13th. Okay. So if we get to the 19-minute timestamp, Midikoye as comedy. He didn't go either. Yeah, we got somebody that's got that knowledge from the beginning. What's up? Let me know if I can call you Mita for short. All right. So, and thank you for being a sub. All right. So we're gonna check this out. This is the ninth. What's up, Black Hawk? We're gonna take. We're at the 1850 timestamp. 1850 timestamp. And you're going to hear them talk about the private driver. You're going to hear them talk about how he's part of the fam. He's part of the fam. Oh my gosh, Black Hawk, that's crazy. It's just like people are still promoting. Thank you, Mita. It's just like Black Hawk. People are still promoting Eric G being the frickin' neighbor that's 1,200 feet away, and these channels are bigger than I am, and I'm sitting there going, come on, man. So then I'm getting these questions last night about, wait a minute, you said that he wasn't, da, 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 da. Yeah, that's right, I did. Because I know. Never a Washington State resident, y'all. All right, let's get to that interview. It's a great interview, by the way. Shout out Chronicles of Olivia. Like I said, we're at the 1850 timestamp. And listen to what he says. Listen to what they say.
Of the 12th, November 12th, and I think you hit, and I can even think of that perspective. But they did everything right.
Yeah.
And we discussed that. The buddy system. Explain all the things that they did.
Yeah, they Ubered out together. They only went to known locations that they had been before.
Private driver.
See, he just corrected it. She said Uber, private driver. And he didn't just pick him up at the end of the corner club, you guys. He didn't just pick him up he took them other places that night. He was a chauffeur, a chaperone, as Steve G calls him, a chaperone. A chaperone for that night. For free, bro? For free?
And I think you hit, and I can even think of that perspective. But they did everything right.
Yeah.
And we discussed that. The buddy system. Explain all the things that they did.
Yeah, they Ubered out together. They only went to known locations that they had been before.
Private driver.
They had a private driver. I apologize. It was a private driver that they had actually used before, so they knew him. They had a relationship with this individual.
Know him as a family member, and he really helped us.
Yeah.
We know him as a family member, and he really helped us.
He turned us on to the food truck stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. He turned them on to the food truck video.
He's a great person.
Good people.
Great person. Good people.
And then we only went to known locations with known people, traveled only together on well-lit, known streets to get food before taking a private ride from the same individual who would pick them up
from the he was a chaperone the whole night. People.
Chaperone.
Chaperone. Eat.
Chaperone.
Before taking a private ride from the same individual who would pick them up home to go eat after a night of drinking, being 21, Ubering out, Ubering home with your friend.
And we're totally chaperone.
And then going to bed.
And we're doing everything the way that you tell your kid to go. You know, you don't be two girls all by yourself. Have somebody there.
You're right, Black Hawk. It's like I said, hey, here's my number. You just call me directly. Why? Because I can make sure that I'm the only one picking you up. And if I'm the only one picking you up, the better we get to know each other. And the better we get to know each other, the closer I get to the fam. The fam. He's like family. I told you guys, I'm not playing.
That can walk with you. Everything was perfect. Everything was good.
Yeah.
All the way up to where they went to bed and went to sleep.
Yeah.
And that I can't control. As a family, we can't control what happens when you go to sleep.
Yeah.
When you go to sleep, that's us as society. We have to determine, are we going to let these people be out here that can do whatever they did, sneak into a house, whatever it was? Are we going to allow that to be normal? Are we going to allow that to be okay?
Yeah.
Because we all go to bed at night.
Yeah, what was their flaw? They didn't have a nanny cam in their home? What could they have done to be more
They
safe?
didn't lock the door perfectly.
Yeah. You know, it's Moscow. I know it's safe.
I wonder about the door because Kaylee was a door locker. She would come
totally
here,
was.
and so I question that all the time. Like, why wasn't the door locked? Why wasn't the door locked?
But that's not what society's built on. You don't say, oh, well, you didn't lock the door, so you deserve to die in your sleep.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't do that. We have to make a society where these people show red flags, we identify them, we address them, and then we remove them from hurting other people.
The phone call the Gonzalez family received.
Okay, now there's more. They mention a little bit more. What's up, Melissa? What's up, Yoli? They mention a little bit more. If you're just joining, trust me, you're going to want to watch from the very beginning of this episode because I'm going through everything and you're not going to want to miss a little bit.
On November 13th is one they'll never forget.
We were. It was Sunday around
We were watching football.
1-ish, and we were
Like
watching
every
football.
family, or a lot of families on Sunday.
And
We were
then
watching
our
football.
son was here. Everybody was home except for she was down at her home
We
in LA.
gather on
And
Sunday.
my niece called me and she was freaking out. And she said, Christy, have you talked to Kaylee? And I said, yesterday, like last night. And she said, something bad happened. And she was just bawling. And I said, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? And she said, I think Kaylee's dead. And I said, well, what do you mean? And she
All
said,
our stomachs just dropped.
she
We were
said
just like,
there was somebody just called me and they live down there. She said there was a party last night.
Man,
And
that
Kaylee-
music is
we
loud.
went in and shot the party up and Kaylee was shot. I was like, what? And I just threw my phone. I started screaming. I started telling everybody to call Olivia and to get all of her roommates
call
on the phone.
Maddie.
And I started calling Maddie, and Maddie wouldn't answer, And I said, no, this can't be, because Maddie would have called me. If Kaylee was shot last night at a party, Maddie or Jack would have called me. Like, no, and I called Kaylee,
See, and they were hearing she was shot.
and went straight to voicemail. I was calling Maddie, I was calling Jack, it was ringing. I turned on the TV, and I saw it said 1122 King Road. Like, Kaylee's car was in the driveway, Maddie's car was in the driveway, but it was saying an unconscious person. We're saying, okay, maybe this isn't like, maybe something happened. So Steve starts calling the police. Steven, our son, started calling the hospital, and he started calling the PD and saying, my name is Gonzalez, and we heard that my daughter Kaylee Gonzalez was killed in an accident. And they said, oh, we can't give you any more information. We'll call you back. Well, next thing you know, some more phones started ringing. Our daughters that came running down, 16 and 17 years old, came and said, Mom, somebody just called me and said that Kaylee's dead. And we're like, what? Like, who was it? She's like, I don't know. It's somebody that they're there and Kaylee's dead. And we were like, oh my God, like this can't be, and it's just very, very, very
Yeah, these
dramatic.
protocols have to be updated.
Yeah.
These protocols of somebody showing up at your door 10 hours later is ridiculous.
Because we had hours of panic before the sheriff
It was
department.
terrible.
It was about 4:30. And
I don't
So
blame
you guys, they never called you. You guys found this out from family members
yes.
that were in the area, and you guys didn't get notified. You actually reached out to them, and you guys still didn't get notified
he
for
wound up
hours.
calling them twice.
I
And
get
then
it.
I
Their
said,
protocols are all about, like, maybe they'll commit suicide or something, but they have to be updated because
The sheriff
social media moves so fast, so quick.
See, this is where he also tells you that they told him to chill out. You're getting too far ahead of us, Steve.
That's why we are using social media. I'm not using the most common channels.
we called Karen and we asked Karen if she had heard anything, and she goes, yes, I was told that I need to get down because there
We
was an
thought Kurt
accident.
was good. We honestly.
We thought maybe Maddie was the unconscious person, and we had already been told by several people, like 100% Kaylee was dead. And we were like, one hand she's and
We
they're
were
bawling.
just
And they're
hoping
like
Maddie
this.
was just unconscious.
And then we're like, but Karen got a call saying to come down there. We haven't
I
got
thought
a
that
call.
was a good sign.
So we're like, oh.
And I kept giving him hope. I kept saying, if it happened last night, you guys would know by now. I kept giving him hope. I said, they just released an article that the roommates are being questioned right now. You know, they probably took their phones, Mom. Like, I just kept giving him hope because I live in Los Angeles. It wasn't here. And that's all I could do. But like, it's just this feeling in your gut that like, I just sat with.
I knew as soon as my niece, as soon as Sabrina called, I knew that it was real.
Yeah.
And she was freaking out.
And then cops showed up around 4:30.
Yeah, the sheriff came around 4:30, and then he told us that there were 4 victims, and we said, "Is one of them Maddie Morgan?" And he told us yes. And we realized that it was Kaylee and Maddie.
We still knew she was going down there, and I couldn't tell.
Yeah, Karen was still on her way, and
She still tried to.
and then she got down there, and she got there about 20 minutes after we got the news, and
Another person who was broken by the news of Kaylee's passing is her ex-boyfriend, Jack Decor. Not only has his life been picked apart, he's been scrutinized by social media.
You know in your heart.
Has anybody ever seen Jack Decor's social media messages to his ex-girlfriend Kaylee on the photos and the posts that she would post? That's a jealous motherfucker, isn't it? That's a jealous motherfucker. And they want to promote it like they were getting back together. They were going to get married. But listen to exactly what they say about their relationship. It's coming up.
He had nothing to do with this.
More than, I mean, even just logically, I think that a lot of people assume we're blinded by this individual. But contrary to that, we're very capable of removing our emotions for Jack, which is absolute love. And
just like Eric G, right? He's great people, good people. He's fam. But Eric, he said he barely knew him. Huh.
Looking at the situation logically, looking at this individual in front of us, looking at a pattern of behaviors of him that we've seen throughout 5-6 years. So emotionally, and in our hearts and in our heads and in every sense of the word, it's
Physics.
not.
We did a job
Thorough.
vetting him.
I asked him to.
How do you vet somebody being asleep right after the girls got home through that morning? How do you vet somebody when they were sleeping? Oh, because you asked him to lift his shirt up?
Yes, like, did he have any scratches? Did he have any bruises? He came here immediately after it happened.
He can prove that he had none.
No, I checked his shoes.
Yeah.
I checked his car. I checked his hands.
I took
I
photos.
checked his neck.
Yeah.
He came over in shorts
Yeah.
within hours.
And he was happy for Kaylee.
Yeah.
Whether they were,
Really? Did you ever see his social media post on her post when they broke up? Boy, listen, they were broke up and he didn't like nobody commenting on Kaylee. Jealous motherfucker. I mean, and a nasty jealous motherfucker too. Woo-hoo. Those texts.
I think they were close to getting back together. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they were.
Maybe they were. Maybe they weren't. I think they were, but maybe they were. Maybe they weren't. I don't know if he was going to move in with her. I don't know if he was going to stay. I'm going to move. Let me paint this picture for you guys. What's up, Tom? I'm going to move from damn near the border of Canada to damn near the border of Mexico. I'm going to move. If I'm Kaylee and she already moved, Kaylee moved from the damn near border of Canada all the way to damn near the border of Mexico. We don't know if they were getting back together. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. You know what that means? It means we can't tell mama about our plans that with the ex that they love so much. The vetting, social media, he didn't hide it. He was a nasty motherfucker when he was typing to people. Kaylee, you're gorgeous. Oh boy, that would set him off. Just little bits like that set him off. We vetted him. He was asleep. He was asleep.
Whether she was moving without him or not, he had nothing but love.
We went and investigated Adam. What did you tell Adam? We went through that whole thing.
Yeah, Adam, the same Adam that is part of the Moscow volunteer program. Oh, that guy. That's right. That's right.
Adam is about her trying to get back with Jack.
Day
Because they're
one,
roommates.
day one of this all happening, Jack was right there in the trenches with me, reaching out to people Kaylee had called.
Oh, I bet he was, because what? Wouldn't you know? How do you get the people to not look at you? You join in on the cause, right? Hey, I'm going to help and do everything I can. I'm going to help and do everything I can. That way they don't even think that it was me. Why would the person that committed this crime be all of a sudden jumping right in to help? They wouldn't. Come on.
Who is this?
The first 3 nights are on our couch after he came. He could not leave us.
That's why the FBI agent said, Steve, slow down.
See, the FBI agent said, Steve, slow down.
We realize you guys are ahead of us. We realize that you guys have this chain of thought and you're going where we're going, but we're an organization and we have to check it a little bit slower than you. And you're just ripping through it and you're ready to tell everyone. He's like, slow down.
And I know it sounds weird that we asked him to show us his arms and stuff if we trusted him so much, but I mean, I think that
People, I think people would look at you negatively if that wasn't the reaction.
you know, and I said, and I looked him in his eyes and he was crying and I was crying. I said, I'm so sorry.
We hate
that I have
doing this
to
too,
ask
but we have
But
to
can
do
you
it.
broke his heart?
Yeah.
And he was just like,
Nobody's
Yeah.
sticking up for
like,
me.
you know, lifted up
And
his
we
shirt.
were sticking up for him.
And I said, okay.
We're
I said,
not
I'm so
blindly
sorry.
Nobody's sticking up for him, and we were. Now, remember, this is why I'm playing this section again. If you want to watch the whole interview, here's the link. Shout out to Chronicles of Olivia. So when I play that, you hear all the, there's no way he loved her. There's no way. We know without a doubt. We know without a doubt. We know without a doubt. We know without a doubt that Eric didn't do anything either because he's like fam. Let's hear that again real quick before
I think we
move
touched
on.
on it earlier at lunch. Going back to the night of the 12th, November 12th.
Exactly,
I
Busby.
didn't even think of that perspective. But they did everything right.
Yeah.
And we discussed that. The buddy
It's
system. Explain all the things that they did.
Yeah, they Ubered out together. They only went to known locations that they had been before.
Private driver.
They had
So
a
we don't
private
get paid.
driver. I apologize. It was a private driver that they had actually used before, so they knew him. They had a relationship with this
We knew him
individual.
as a family member, and he really helped us.
Yeah.
He turned us on to the food truck stuff.
Yeah,
He's a great person.
good people. And then we only went to like known locations with known people, traveled only together on well-lit, known streets to get food before taking a private ride from the same individual who would pick them up
Chaperone.
to go.
Chaperone. So when it comes to this video, because I know there's been a lot of people asking me or even dropping comments, and thank you. When it comes to this video right here, and let me copy that link and drop it if you haven't seen it yet. Why Eric G has always been sus to me. There's that link for you. Save it. Check it out later. because I go through the whole thing on. That's my opinion in a 13-minute video. Unfortunately, we're going to be going through a lot of stuff tonight. All right. So I'm going to move to the Idaho driver. And these are some videos discussing the private driver, the neighbor. And then we're going to get into some articles. Thank you all so very much for being here. And please hit the like if you haven't yet. Check this out. Here's another video.
The investigation continues to determine who killed 4 University of Idaho students. The Uber driver who picked up 2 of the victims the night of their murders is confirming with News Nation nothing suspicious happened during their drive home. News Nation's Alex Capriello spoke.
Remember, this is the same guy that said, well, I didn't watch him walk in because I didn't want to get robbed. And then he also told you I didn't watch him walk in because it's a fairly safe neighborhood and I didn't think I had to. Yeah, nothing was suspicious, but I made sure I got me a Taco Bell receipt.
With the driver about any details he had to share about that night. Alex?
Natasha, good evening to you. For the very first time, we're hearing from this rideshare driver who picked up Kaylee and Maddie right there on the side of the road on the night of the murders. Now, his testimony is incredibly important because it helps build additional context about that ride as well.
You see, his testimony is very important. It helps build. When your wife works for MPD, right? The crime took place on 11/13. The first 2 weeks, they were putting out Nissan Sentra. You didn't go look for a Nissan Sentra, did you, Eric? No, you didn't. After they put out the Hyundai Elantra at the end of November, you didn't go look for a Hyundai Elantra right away, did you? No, you didn't. You didn't start looking for vehicles until December 7th. I wonder why that is, Eric. Was it because the wife came home and you were sitting there at dinner and you said, what'd they find out today, babe? What's new? I can't tell you, honey. Just don't say nothing. But this is where they're headed now, right now in this investigation. And then I'm sitting there thinking in my own head going, oh shit, I better go get a list of vehicles. The same person that took a week off right after the crime took place because he was so heartbroken. I wonder what his wife was thinking at that time. Why are you taking a week off of work? Because you're so heartbroken, Eric. I thought you barely knew these girls. But it's so hard. I wonder what his wife was thinking. But you know what I know she wasn't thinking? She wasn't thinking that Mr. Eric was the private chaperone for a lot of these young, attractive, intoxicated females that giggle and laugh and joke and play around with Eric while he's giving them rides. Because she didn't know nothing about that. Oh, she didn't know nothing about that.
Established credibility to the timeline that the police have established.
News Nation tracked down and spoke to the Uber driver who was likely one of the last people to see Idaho murder victims Kaylee Gonsalves and Maddie Mogan alive. In an exclusive conversation with the driver, who asked to remain anonymous, he says he knows Maddie, Kaylee, and Xana and shared what he remembered about the ride, a drive he says he thinks about every single day. I have a very good memory, the driver tells News Nation. I wasn't followed. There was no one there. There was absolutely nothing strange about that street. It was just a normal night.
I have a very good memory. I wasn't followed. There was no one there. There was absolutely nothing strange about that night. Really, wait until we get into some of these articles, y'all. Because it seems scary. In some interviews.
On Greek Row. He says Kaylee and Maddie were not nervous or apprehensive in any way. The driver turned himself into the police days later, sharing his GPS coordinates and alibi, critical evidence to prove his innocence.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't.
I've got an update here that I want to give you right away. It comes from the city of Moscow because they're doing the updates from their police department. And this breaking news is fascinating in the Idaho quadruple murder case. They're now saying that you probably heard that Kaylee and Madison, two of the victims in the case, after they left the grub truck, that they took an Uber home because it's quite a walk. It would have been about a 23-minute walk, and they were home within 5 minutes. It turns out they definitely got a ride, but it was not an Uber. What we're being told now, through further investigation, the Moscow Police Department learned that Kaylee and Madison used a private party for a ride home from the grub truck at approximately 1.
Chaperone, that was like family. And he even went out and visited them too. I'm sure he did a lot.
40 a.m., which would have gotten
Such a
them
great
home
guy. Such
by
a great guy.
1:45, which is exactly the time that the other kids got home as well. Xana and Ethan, the couple that was at the Sigma Chi party on campus. So this is fascinating information because
Oh, Mama J, I'm pretty damn sure she did. You know what I'm saying? Because let's tell the truth, right, Mama J? I'm gonna tell you right now. What husband? What husband? Yes, the same guy with the bat shetties. I got a picture of that too. If you guys want to see the bat shetty. You spoiled some of the surprise. Yes, the bat shetty. But Mama J, let's be honest, right? In what world is it okay for a pregnant wife that's about to have birth in about a month when the crime took place, was about to have birth in about a month, and is cool with her husband being out from 7, 8 o'clock at night until 5 in the morning, dropping off young, intoxicated, drunk females. Most wives would be like, nuh-uh. And hey, I don't blame them, because I wouldn't be the husband that is out there doing it in the first place. I'm going to be with my damn wife. I already know that I wouldn't be out there doing something, but you know what? I want my wife to know, or I would want my wife to really know deep inside, baby, you're right here with me. And that's right, baby. That's right, baby. I'm here. Oh, shoot. Chaperone. He's like family. Yeah. What's a bat shetty? A bat shetty is a bat with a machete built into it. I'm going to show you guys the picture later. We got a lot to get through tonight. Trust me. It's going to be a little bit of a long night here.
they're not saying what private
Thank
party
you all for being here.
means, whether they hitchhiked, whether it was a friend, but someone gave them a ride home from the grub truck that night. Somebody gave them a ride home that is not registered as a commercial vehicle somewhere. So this is a little more tricky.
Right, because he's a private driver. I'm your private dancer. You know, remember Tina Turner? Private dancer, dancer for money. Do what you want me to do. I'm your private driver, driver for money. Private driver like family.
But how the police found this out is fascinating. This might have come from Ring doorbell cams that might have traced whatever vehicle ended up eventually at the home where Kaylee and Madison live. But fascinating to see that at this point, it is a private ride, which takes me back to the grub truck. Is it possible that someone at the grub truck might have actually gone up to the girls and then said, I'll drive you home? But obviously the police know something more about this because they definitely...
Okay, is she just gonna... Okay, I'm gonna skip this. Sorry about the Banfield BS there. Here we go.
Breaking news tonight, 40 days into the University of Idaho murders, and the driver, who was likely the very last man to see Maddie Mogen and Kaylee Gonsalves alive, is speaking to News Nation tonight. The Uber driver who brought the kids home the night of the murders, Kaylee.
Yeah, let's downplay it, right? Let's downplay it, man. The things his wife did not know. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm like an overly committed person. So when I hear and see shit like this, it really just drives me nuts, because it's like, you know what? There's so many unfaithful fucking people out there these days, and it's ridiculous. And when you got a wife at home,
Kaylee's family reported that their daughter had indeed ordered an Uber, and now the man who drove them is revealing exclusive details to us about that ride home and what the girls said in the back of that car. News Nation correspondent Alex Capriello is live tonight. He tracked him down.
Hey, I wouldn't be surprised. Weirdo. I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said before, how do you get close to the fam? You get dinners with the fam. You're hanging out with the fam. You know, listen. I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. I let shit slip the other night. I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut tonight, because I could say so much more, and I'm not.
He joins me from outside the home in Moscow. That was a very difficult task. Tell me what you found out, Alex.
Yeah, I was able to find this rideshare driver. He's one of only about 4 here in the Moscow area. So I was able to track down that phone number and give him a call personally, speak to him. I asked him point blank, hey, are you the guy who drove Kaylee and Maddie home that night? And to his credit, he was very transparent, very honest, very open, almost immediately with me.
Well, understandably, he has said, Alex, that he is very concerned. It's a small community. He doesn't want to be on camera, but he was very revealing in what he told you about that ride home. Start there. What did...
Yeah. No, I don't want my name. I don't want my face. Oh, my Lord.
What did the girls talk about in the back seat?
Oh, my Lord.
Well, he said that it was actually a rather innocent conversation from the beginning. You might remember that he picked up these 2 girls from that grub truck. It's the food truck that's located right in downtown Moscow. And really, he said that was the center of their conversation the entire 5-minute.
That's why I played the interview first. He was giving them a ride the whole night. Picked him up here, took him there. Let's just downplay and minimize everything. Let's not even tell anybody that I was a chaperone private driver.
That ride home was about their mac and cheese carbonara that they were planning on splitting when they got back to the house. He said that...
I know, right, Mita? The Pinterest that's been deleted? Woo! All those weapons, right, Mita? All those weapons? Yeah, all those weapons, huh? You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
In the past, not only these 2 girls, but Xana as well. And he said that in the past they've talked about boys and drama and college life, but not this time around. It was just a very normal, innocent conversation about their food and how they were going to share it when they got home.
Yeah, I bet that's all it was the whole night. Just innocent conversation. Oh my gosh. Dudes like this make me sick. Especially when it comes to my overly committed ass. Dudes like this make me sick.
So that's also revealing that he knew them. He had them in the car multiple times before. This is a small town. So if they've taken an Uber a couple of times, it would be likely that he'd be the driver. And he said, indeed, he knew them. He knew all 3 of them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He said that obviously, as one of only about 4 rideshare drivers in this area, he picks up these girls a lot. And not to mention, we already know that this is so close to Frat Row. And of course, we've reported that this is a party house. So a lot of times students would come here. And so he said that Xana, that Kaylee and Maddie were no strangers to them. He's given them rides home from the bars, home from work, home from school.
See, he just told this guy they weren't strangers. They weren't strangers. Oh, they are. Yes, that's right, Mishy girl. They are. They're community fixtures in Moscow. They are. He does other stuff for the university too. He does other stuff for the university too. They are fixtures in that community. Oh, yes. Why did I have an alias? Why did I have a little alias with the I'm going to add an R into my name so that way when somebody looks me up, they see they don't see that I have a wife. Remember, I'm going to take my ring off. What's your last name? Grower. Well, I don't see you on Facebook. Yeah, I don't have social media. Here's my number. Just call me. Just call me. I don't see him on social media.
So he knows them. He has driven them before. But back again to this, he said that there was nothing out of the ordinary that night, that right now or in that moment that it was just an innocent conversation. Of course, the frats were bumping on a Saturday night, but here at the house, it was quiet and he saw nothing out of the usual.
So as you reported earlier this week, Alex, the last thing that we heard on tape was the surveillance camera showing Maddie and Kaylee walking from the Corner Club bar to the grub truck. And the only thing we could hear was, Maddie, what did you tell Adam? And then Maddie responds, I told Adam everything. Was there any conversation in the back of the Uber car about Adam or the bartender? Because Adam turned out to be the bartender. Did he mention anything like that?
Yeah, actually, the rideshare driver said that he knows Adam. He knows he's a bartender, but Adam was not brought up once at all during that conversation. Again, no conversations about boys, drama, or any trouble. And as far as what the girls were feeling, he said they were not fearful. They weren't skittish in any way. But back to the food truck, also, I asked him about that. Hey, you were right there. Did you see anything out of the ordinary there? And he said, no, it was a Saturday night at the food truck. A bunch of college kids hanging out, ordering their food before heading home. You know, I brought up another person a lot of people have speculated about, the hoodie guy he's been referenced as. He said he didn't see that guy. He has no indication that anything was wrong there at the food truck, and certainly during that entire rideshare home, no indication that anything was wrong there rather.
Okay, then what about the police? Because clearly I would
minimize.
have imagined the police have a lot more,
So you're going to tell me that the girls didn't jump in the back seat of the car and go, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Hurry up, hurry up. Why? What? That guy in the hoodie. Oh, I didn't know anything about a hoodie guy. I never even heard anybody talk about it or anybody mention it or anything. I didn't even know, even though he ran in front of my damn car before we left. Oh, I didn't know anything about a hoodie guy.
Machinery and technological ability than sometimes we do to track people down. I assume that the police would have found him and that they would have talked. What did he say about being able to tell everything he told you to the police?
Right. Yeah, this was super interesting to me because he said that he didn't hear about the murders until the next day. And he realized, oh my gosh, these are the 2 girls that I had driven home and I've driven home in the past. And so he was stewing on that for a little bit, but he was the one who eventually turned himself over to the police by calling the tip line saying, hey, I was the one who drove the...
Why would you need to call the tip line if your wife works for Moscow Police Department? Why would you need to call the tip line? Why wouldn't you just call the officers that you already have a relationship with because your wife works there and they have parties. I'm going to try and distance myself. Minimize and distance. He called the tip line.
For a little bit, but he was the one who eventually turned himself over to the police by calling the tip line saying, hey, I was the one who drove these girls home. The police tells the rideshare driver that they already knew he was the driver, but even still, he was the one who called in himself and said, hey, I was that guy. That being said, when he did that, called the tip line, he turned over all of his GPS coordinates from that night, sharing that he went to Taco Bell after dropping the girls off and then went home. And
went to Taco Bell. I got to get that alibi. I got to get that alibi before I get back. Got to get that alibi. Well, where were you on the night? Why would you need, and listen to this, why would you need to share a Taco Bell receipt if you've claimed to other people that you shared your GPS data? Why would you need to show the receipt if you showed the GPS data? Why wouldn't you tell people that you turned over the GPS data?
so that's the reason why he was cleared almost immediately, never been named as a suspect or persons of interest, because all the data that he provided to the police proves that he was not there at this house at the time that these murders allegedly happened.
So the other question is, as you are standing almost, I imagine, in the same spot where they were dropped off, did he mention anything about the drop-off that was unusual? Anybody in the parking lot? Did he drive into the parking lot? Did he hear something, see something, pass anybody?
Ashley, the only thing he said was that he heard the frats doing their normal partying, but everything else seemed quiet, seemed normal. There were no headlights. There was no one following him. He says he's got a great memory, and he would know whether or not anyone was trailing him or if there was anything suspicious at all. As far as the drop-off, he said that he brought them right up the street here on King Road and dropped them off here at the foot of the driveway. He never pulls actually into the driveway because he says, based on his training, he always wants to be able to have a quick getaway in the event that something bad happens to him.
What? What? What gentleman? And let's remind the ladies here. What gentleman drops off intoxicated females at the end of that long ass driveway? Yeah, right, weirdo. Did he mention that he got a text message from Dylan right after? Why has Eric G been so sus to me ever since the beginning? We broke it down a couple years ago, and I'm just reintroducing all of it with all of this together for you guys. That's why. And what gentleman drops ladies off from that long-ass driveway at 2 in the morning? Why? Why didn't you pull up? Because, wait a minute. I thought it was a safe area. I thought it was a safe town. I thought it was safe. Well, I didn't pull up because, in my line of work, we always have to make sure we have a quick getaway just in case. All right, let's go back to that again here. What now?
The driveway. He never pulls actually into the driveway because he says, based on his training, he always wants to be able to have a quick getaway in the event that something bad happens to him, like he gets robbed on the side of the road. But he dropped them off here on King Road.
Gets robbed.
He watched them get out of the car. He did not watch them physically go into the home, but he said that he trusted that they were going to be safe because he's driven them so many other times.
Ain't that ridiculous? Didn't even watch them walk in. What dude, where it's your responsibility to take intoxicated individuals What dude does not watch them walk into the door? Let me paint a scenario for you, because this is what a dude would do in this situation if he's doing all of these things. Yes, there was nothing weird. It was innocent conversation. I dropped him off at the end of the driveway and I didn't even watch him walk in. Exactly, Yvonne, since he was like family, right? This is the dude that does the shit that he did. Oh my gosh, look at this. She's so intoxicated. Maybe tonight's my night. She's so intoxicated. My wife isn't expecting me back home. My wife isn't expecting me back home for a couple hours. My wife isn't expecting me back home for a couple hours. Let me try something tonight. Oh, damn. Kaylee just got back in tonight. She hasn't been back for a long time. The whole reason that I even did this was because I was giving rides to Kaylee. Me and Kaylee got to know each other. Got real close. The fam considers me fam. I've been the guy that's been chilling back, just trying to be the nice guy this whole time, waiting for my move. I never could get myself up, the confidence up before, to try and put a move on her before. But you know what? She's back in town. She's here for a night. She's intoxicated. The family loves me. We would be a perfect couple. I'm going to try something. And then when you stop, all of a sudden, there's a little negative emotion going on. The negative emotion makes me want to drop her ass off at the end of the driveway. My negative emotion wants me to just take the fuck off before they even walk in, because I don't even want to see them. I'm so mad. I'm so dismissed. I'm so scared that maybe they'll say something. Are they going to tell my wife? Are they going to tell my wife? Oh, I'm freaking out. That's why the person drops him off at the end of the driveway and doesn't watch him walk in, because they had a freaking attitude. That's why. Because a real man is going to pull up. A real man would probably even ride share. Maybe you wouldn't get out of the car, but I'm going to tell you right now, my ass would have got out of the car and made sure they walked up to the door safely, got in, shut it. Thank you. See you guys later. Have a good night. That's what my ass would have done. Especially if you're just a private driver chaperone. Uber driver, they sit inside the car. Uber driver, sometimes they sit outside the driveway. A friend of the family, a family member, drives you up to the door and watches you walk in. There's a reason why all of that stuff took place, because the dude, and this is just speculation, the dude got dissed and dismissed. His move that he couldn't build up all that confidence before when Kaylee was there, all the rides he gave him, enough to be a friend, enough to be around Steve G up in Coeur d'Alene, enough to be around Steve G and the family, for them to consider him family. You know how far Coeur d'Alene is from Moscow? It's a couple hours. It ain't just right down the road. Shit, she's back in tonight. Tonight is my night. It's now or never. It's now or never, because she's going to be gone back to Texas after this. It's now or never. And all of a sudden, damn, I got denied. Just get out of the car. Just get out of the car. The door, I bet you the door was in the process of shutting from them moving it with their hand And he was probably taken off before that door was even completely shut because he was frickin' pissed. Who's gonna be driving around all mad? Shit, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Yeah.
And he knew that these two girls were together.
Thank you for watching. Go to news.
Yeah, he did know, didn't he?
Well, new details this morning out of Moscow, Idaho, where police are investigating the murders of 4 university students. News Nation speaking with the Uber driver who gave 2 of the 4 victims a ride home the night they were murdered. This is families of the victims are enduring a holiday with loved one missing and police remaining tight-lipped. Alex Capriello live in Moscow with the very latest. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, Kelly, good morning to you. I spoke to that rideshare driver who presumably was one of the very last people to see both Kaylee and Maddie alive. He shared new details with me, including the fact that he was the one who turned.
Okay, so we already watched this part. I think this is the last one before we get into the documents. Hold on, let me check. No, I'm saying he got mad, and that's why he dropped them off the way that he did. That's why he went to the end of the driveway and didn't pull up to the door. That's why he didn't even watch them walk away. Actually, we got one more video here. Here's one more.
I'm Anjanette Levy, and thanks so much for joining us here on Law and Crime. We've been working to bring you any new information on the murders of 4 students at the University of Idaho. Now we are hearing for the first time from the driver who took Kaylee Gonsalves and Maddie Mogan home that evening. He spoke to the Daily Mail exclusively and did so as long as they agreed not to identify him. This driver said, "It's not lost on me that my job was to get these girls home safe, but that didn't really help this time."
Really? My job was to get these girls home safe. You were afraid you were going to get robbed and you didn't even watch them walk in. Wow, dude. Wow.
He went on to say, "I had known Kaylee and Maddie and Xana too. They would occasionally get rides home and..."
Occasionally get rides home. Occasionally. Contradictions left and right. And you see the shade right there in Bethany's window? Take a screenshot if you can't. Zoom it in. There's a reason why that shade was left open like that.
There was nothing out of the ordinary about that night. You will recall that Kaylee Gonsalves, Maddie Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were all found stabbed to death in that home on King Road near the campus of the University of Idaho. There is no suspect at this time, and to our knowledge, the police have not recovered a murder weapon. This driver went on to say they weren't upset about anything or talking about anyone. There was no apprehension, no weird feelings there, no upsetness. There was no nervousness about them. They weren't.
There was no apprehension, no weird feelings, no upsetness. There was no nervousness. You trying to downplay the hell out of that, bro. Downplaying the hell out of it. Contradictions.
Weren't afraid of anybody. There was nobody following them or following us. There was absolutely nothing about that ride that was different or abnormal. They were just typical sorority girls talking away, and half the time they don't pay a whole lot of attention to us drivers. We're just kind of there
Really, we're just kind of there to doing our thing. They don't even pay attention to really your family, bro. Your family. You're the chaperone. You're the one that's been up to Coeur d'Alene bunch of times, having cookouts with the family. I gotta stop. Having cookouts with the family. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow. I'm gonna keep quiet.
there doing our own thing. This driver picked up Maddie and Kaylee downtown in Moscow after they had left the Corner Club bar. He said that he picked them up at between 1:40 and 1:45 or so. They had their food with them. They were excited about eating mac and cheese, he said. He dropped them off in front of the home, but he said he didn't watch them go in. It was only a day later or so, on Monday, the day after the homicides, that he realized he had been in that neighborhood when he heard about it. And then when he saw who the victims were, he realized he had taken Maddie and Kaylee home that evening. He said he immediately went to police and explained why he had had this interaction with them, produced a receipt showing he had gone to a Taco Bell after dropping them off, and he said that he was cleared. He also said that people in the community are living in fear and want to get more information from law enforcement. Anyone with information about this.
Okay, I want to show you guys. You see this little part right here? And they run off. Yeah, and then right after that, he runs up the street right in front of the private driver. You know who Hoodie Guy was.
To reach out.
You know damn well the girls got in there and said, "Oh, hurry up, go, go, go." All right, now, here's this infamous article. You know, you got the thumbnails with the. He lived 1,200 feet from my door. Driver who brought Idaho victims home the night they were killed is exceptionally glad about the suspect's arrest. I bet you were, buddy. I bet you were. If you're just joining, you got to go to the beginning of the episode because now we're at that part where things are starting to get morphed, like I told you guys. This is the part where it gets morphed. Let me show this to you one more time before we get into this part of the show. I redacted the information because I don't want dudes' relatives, phone numbers, addresses out there. When did Koberger live 1,200 feet from Eric? When did Koberger live 1,200 feet from Eric? That's weird. Oh, wait a minute. We already brought up the real neighbor that lived 1,200 feet away. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. The guy that's not even from the country. The same guy that left the country after he brought the tip. Now let's go back to this again. He lived 1,200 feet from my door. Driver who brought Idaho victims home the night they were. So let's get into this, right? I told you guys it's going to be a hell of a show tonight. If you're just joining, you definitely you definitely want to start from the beginning. You're not going to want to miss any of the stuff that we go through. This is the one-stop shop when it comes to this BS. The private driver who dropped off Kaylee and Maddie at their home near the University of Idaho campus just hours before they were attacked in the early morning hours on November 13th, 2022 is exceptionally glad an arrest has been made and tells Law and Crime that he actually saw the white Hyundai Elantra police were looking for last month. December 7th, remember? Hey, babe, this is the dinner on December 6th. Hey, babe. Yes, you're welcome. I thought you would love pot roast tonight. You know, I know how you like the carrots and the, you know, and the beef, and you know, I know you like coming home and it smells beautiful. I know it's your favorite, honey. Pot roast is your favorite. I know the crock pot. I know. It's all for you, baby. Hey, baby, by the way, what'd they find out today? Oh my gosh, they're getting so close. Now they're like, shit, shit. Okay, baby, have a good night. Get some rest. I'm going to finish doing the dishes for you, okay, baby? I'm sitting there washing the plates. I'm sitting there doing the dishes. And I'm sitting there thinking, damn, I better get my ass out there tomorrow and go find some vehicles. December 7th shows up. December 8th shows up. Hey, baby, is there anything? They getting any closer? No, not yet. Not yet. You know these investigations take time. Okay, babe. December 10th comes around. Hey, babe, here. Look at this. Listen, I was bored today and I thought I would go try and help. And here's a list of 14 or 15 Hyundai Elantras. Yeah, one of them was all the way in Pullman. Yeah. Yeah, I ran out of finding Hyundai Elantras in Moscow, and I went up to Pullman, and you'll never believe it, babe. I actually drove by this parking lot that I couldn't even see. It was crazy, babe. It's the craziest thing. I was driving down this road at the north part of Pullman, and there was this huge hill, and I couldn't even see it, but I don't know. My soul was telling me to turn on this road. And then I turned on this road and I was driving by. And even though I couldn't see the parking lot from the road, my soul told me to go into that parking lot, babe. It's crazy. And when I went into that parking lot, all of a sudden I came across this Hyundai Elantra. Yeah. Can you turn these in? Yeah. Can you turn these in? Thank you. Love you, babe. Right. Contribution call out Mama J. It says a new member, but I know you were a member, so it might have been part of the YouTube thing where they demonetized my ass for like a week and a half because I spoke too much truth. Because when you speak too much truth on here, you get censored, you know? You get censored, but whatever. Whatever. The 19-page document contains chilling details. Now, who says I'm going to help you? Who says I'm going to help you? A fireman? EMS? Yeah, Mama J, it was probably from the demonetization because during that week and a half, if there was any memberships that were going to get renewed, they didn't. So there was like I'm seriously, there's like a shit ton of members. I lost probably just because of that week and a half. I probably lost about 200. It was over 200 memberships that I lost. But you know, YouTube, you can't talk the truth too much. It is what it is. And thank you again for becoming a member again, Mama J. I appreciate that. Because it was kind of messed up what they did to me, but whatever. It's okay. I'm going to help you. Yes, firemen, first responder. Yes, they do. If you haven't checked it out, check out my first responder video. That's in the video section just a couple of them ago. Still, nobody's really looking at it. And you'll be surprised who the first responder was there. Somebody that lives right across the street. I was surprised, Eric says, but exceptionally glad that some form of resolution is forming, the private driver said. I feel exceptionally bad for those parents in our community. He was somewhat stunned to learn that Koberger, who maintains he did not commit the crime, lived near him in Pullman, Washington. He lived 1,200 feet from my front door. I spent 6 weeks trying to convince my wife that there was not a threat, and I was wrong. The driver added that his wife still fears walking their dog despite Koberger's arrest. Wait a minute, sir. He lived 12. You'll see the thumbnails out there. He lived 1,200. No, he didn't. He didn't live 1,200 feet at all when it was committed. All you have to do, and this is all you have to do is look up dude's record. The dude didn't live. You see the middle one right here? You see this one right here? I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? Idaho? Idaho? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it's all Idaho. Whoa. So how can he live 1,200 feet? How can he live 1,200 feet? He lived 1,200 feet from my front door. I spent 6 weeks trying to convince my wife that there was not a threat. And I was wrong. Adding that his wife still fears walking their dog despite Koberger's arrest. Why didn't the wife that worked at Moscow Police Department believe that the community was not safe? Like Chief Fry was telling you from November 16th, 2022? I don't know. The driver spends much of his days shuttling people around town. So after the killings, he kept an eye out for the white Hyundai Elantra. He eventually spotted it at Koberger's apartment building sometime after December 7th. Remember, I told you guys, hey, babe, December 6th supper. Yes, I know you love that pot roast. It's your favorite, baby. What's going on with the investigation? You know I can't tell you, but I know you're not going to say anything, honey. Oh, shit. I better go get me a list of cars. I thought it was too new, he said of the car. Since Moscow police had asked the public for information about a 2011 to 2013 Elantra, however, he wrote down the car's Washington State license plate number. You think I'm bullshitting? Let's go back to Koberger's apartment. You think I'm BSing about how this person wouldn't have been able? Now listen, we're all the way in the back here. You think this person was just driving by? No, we're back at Koberger's apartment right in this parking lot. Let me show you something. Do you see the road? No, you see a bunch of hills. We're going to take you on Google next before we get into the rest of this article. I know I'm hungry for pot roast too, Caddy. That's why I'm bringing it up. I'm like, damn, that would be so good. You start to see the road, right? You don't see a white car way back there. But look, you can barely see it only for a short second because you got a hill and a hill on both sides of the road that I'm driving down. So when you go back here, just a skosh, right? And you're back here. Do you see the road? No, we're elevated. Do you see the road? No, we're elevated. Look at the houses across from us. We're elevated. Let's go down. Oh, we're going to go down. We're going to go down. You see that slope going down? We're still going downward. And then all of a sudden, look, there's a hill to my right and a hill to my left. You saw the car as you're driving by? Really? So let me get Google out for you because I'm going to take you on the road from Google. You ain't seeing this as you're just driving by. All right, now let's take you to Google. So we're going to go here. All right. We're going to go to, you got Northeast Valley Road, right? This is where I'm just driving. We'll go back to the video and you can see as we're driving. Is it going to show it? There we go. As we're driving down. What's up, Bama? As we're driving down, let me shrink it up a little bit so I get the full view for you guys there. As we're driving down, you see how the road kind of curves around, right? This is where we're going here. Kind of curves around, and then it curves back, and then you get to the busy street, right? All right, let's go back to here. Come on, StreamYard. Oh, my Lord. Hold on a minute. Dude, I pay $50 a month for this bullshit. All right, Northeast Valley Road. See that little curve and the curve? All right, we're coming up here. We're going up here. We're driving down. Oh, there's the road. Koberger's apartment and was parked right here. You're going to see my car driving by. All right, let's go down. Let's take a view as we walk around. All right, let's drop down right here. Boy, look at all those white cars, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, I told you all my footage shows all of the white vehicles in Pullman and Moscow as I'm driving through the year anniversary of the crime taking place. Damn, look at all those white cars, right? September 22. How about we go over here? Boy, it sure is easy, isn't it? It sure is easy to spot that white Hyundai Elantra. How about we go over here some more? Boy, it sure is easy, isn't it? With all of these white cars. And we're going to hang out. Let me go back. We're going to hang out all the way up here in Pullman. You see where that's at in Pullman? So we're going to spend days in Moscow just looking all over for this white Hyundai Elantra. Look at all these streets and look at all the places that these Hyundai Elantras could be. So then all of a sudden, what makes me, instead of going to downtown Pullman and looking all over here at all these, remember, I got a job. I'm dropping people. Oh, but look, all of a sudden I'm in it. Yeah, let's just go to this one right here, right? Why did I stop here? I stopped here because my wife gave me a tip about it. So again, I thought it was too new, he said of the car. He wrote down the car's Washington state license plate number and submitted a list of 13 or 14. My bad, I've been saying 14 or 15 for the last couple years. I apologize. 13 or 14 Elantras that he had spotted sometime around December 7th or December 10th through the Moscow PD tip line. Interesting. Freaking pop-ups. Hold on a minute. The driver says that the affidavit confirmed what he suspected about the crime. Some of the most chilling details include the revelation that a camera from a home less than 50 feet, it would, if you're going from Kernodle's bedroom, it's more like 65, 67 to be exact, recorded what sounded like a whimper and a loud thud. Police have previously said some of the victims had defensive wounds, and Kernodle's father told them a news outlet in Arizona that she had fought her attacker. Now listen to this. This is what Eric says. I suspected from everything that I read that whatever happened in that house was exceptionally violent, far beyond what a scorned lover would do in regard to the sheer violence. A scorned lover. A scorned lover. You know what a scorned lover would do? They would drop the girl off at the very edge of the frickin' driveway and take off without even watching them walk in the door in a, quote, neighborhood where I didn't even pull in because I didn't know if I was going to get robbed. Who cares about the girls if they get robbed? I'm not going to watch them go in. Shit, I'm worried about me. The murders have left Moscow residents in shock and created fear among college students who once felt safe leaving their doors unlocked and walking around this town. But the rideshare driver said things have changed. Now let's hear that again. Remember, I didn't want to get robbed. The Moscow murders have left the Moscow residents in shock and created fear among the college students who once felt safe leaving their doors unlocked and walking around town. What? But the rideshare driver said things have changed. As women he takes home now ask him to stand in their doorways so they can check their windows and doors and look through their homes to ensure no one is there. Those are things that had never happened in the communities of Moscow, Idaho, and Pullman, Washington until now. After learning the names of the student victims, the driver said he went to Moscow police and provided a receipt showing he'd purchased fast food after dropping off Gonsalves and Mogan and told investigators about driving them home. But I thought you called the tip line. Wait a minute. You hear all the contradictions tonight? Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't call the tip line. After learning the names of the students, I went right to Moscow police and provided a receipt. The same Taco Bell receipt as my alibi. Here's my receipt. I drove him home. Here's my receipt. He said people online accused him of murdering the four desperate, despite police clearing him as a suspect. Why? Because your wife worked for Moscow PD. How could anybody? You got a wife at home. He's a loving husband. Let me put my ring back on real quick. Yes, I'm a loving husband. Let me put my ring back on real quick. I'm a loving husband. And yes, that's right, Mama J. That's not right after he dropped them off either. No. That receipt was at 4 in the morning. What was it, 4:18? It's been a long time since I've seen the receipt. 4:18? Something, 4:28? Let me know if you remember the exact time. It's been a long time since I've seen that receipt. I didn't even think we'd be talking about Eric G. again, but there's... And unfortunately, misinformation is being put out there. He said people online accused him. For some time afterward, he felt guilt. Happy birthday tomorrow, typically. For some time afterward, he felt guilt because he had driven Madison and Kaylee home that night at 1:56 a.m., only to learn days later that they had been killed. But wait a minute, sir. We just thought that you learned the next morning. What? All these contradictions. They were all nice girls. They were always polite with me. They were happy, friendly girls. In my opinion, there was nothing bad about them. He said they were all good employees at Mad Greek, he added, referring to a downtown Moscow resident. Wow, sir. Like I said, I wonder how many side chicks this dude really had. You know what I'm saying? They were great employees at Mad Greek. I always went there to eat too. Not only did I always take them home and pick them up and be their private driver, but we would go eat where they worked. Bro. The driver said that he and many others in the community still feel frustrated by the messages police sent to the public early on in the investigation when they called the murders targeted. And he said the community had nothing to fear. The comments were about the crime were later walked back, and police said they didn't know if the house or the people inside were the targets. I'm hoping they have an ironclad case. What? Clad in black? Ironclad? I desperately hope they have this locked down. If they let this guy walk, it's a shame. Oh, hell no. Let's get to the next article. Why don't we? Let's get to the next one. Exclusive mail. Thank you all for being here. Oh, we'll get to the Batshedi soon, Crime Tech. Trust me, like I said, let's talk a little bit about Eric G tonight, right? Because, like I said, there's so many people talking about Eric G right now, and it's like, come on, people, we broke this shit down a couple years ago. Come on now. Maybe, Bama. Wouldn't that be insulting? Hey, can you ask your husband if he can submit a DNA sample? Right? Hey, Eric, can you... No, I'm not going to ask. How dare you even think that my husband might have had something to do with this? Okay. That's a good point, though, Bama. What's up, Paco? Exclusive private driver who drove Idaho roommates Kaylee and Madison home hours before the crime breaks his silence, saying the two roommates were just excited about their food and nothing seemed amiss. The driver who took... Oh, come on, get rid of this ad. The driver who took two of the murdered University Idaho students home that night that they were killed broke his silence to tell how he is haunted by the knowledge that his job was to get them home safe, but instead he delivered them to their deaths. Are you hearing these key words that he is saying? If they're not sticking out, rewind it and watch this episode again, and trust me, the key words are going to stick out to you like a sore thumb. Haunted. Ironclad. Oh, there's so many key words tonight. This is why I have to include all of the videos and all of these articles, because I really want to show you all when I'm sitting there talking about Eric G and I'm sitting there telling you about this and this and this. You don't have to rely on me just thinking that I'm telling you the truth. I'm showing you the truth, because there's a lot of people, especially right now, that are sitting there saying this and this and this and this, and it's you gotta check. You gotta check. It's weighed on me. I've replayed that night a million times over, trying to think if there was some sign or some detail that something was amiss, but there was nothing. It's not lost on me that my job was to get these girls home safe, but that didn't really help this time. Man, they got a lot of pictures in here. Jeez. Hold on. Surveillance footage of Kaylee and Madison showed the girls picking up pasta at Grub Truck around 1:40 a.m. after ending their evening out at the nearby Corner Club bar in downtown Moscow. I picked them up about 1:45 a.m., said the driver. They had their food and they were super excited about their mac and cheese, as girls are after they go to the club. They sat in the back and they chatted. They were normal, just like any other night. They weren't upset about anything or talking about anyone. The driver said he was familiar with surveillance footage in which one of the girls appeared to be talking about somebody called Adam earlier that evening. He said they didn't talk about him or any boy on that ride. Well, you know what's kind of interesting about that video where the girls were driving by? And this is going to be part of the Bat-Shetty section of the show. Who has a truck that looks so much fucking like that truck that drove by the girls when they were talking about Adam? We're going to show you. They didn't talk about him or any boy on that ride. Moscow police have contacted Adam, who they have described as cooperating with their investigation. According to the driver, sometimes the girls would talk about boys, but that night they were just excited about their food. There was no apprehension, no weird feelings there, no upsetness. There was no nervousness about them. They weren't afraid of anybody. There was nobody following them or following us. There was absolutely nothing about that ride that was different or abnormal. They were just typical sorority girls talking away. And half the time, they don't even pay a whole lot of attention to us drivers, because I'm going to minimize myself again. I'm going to distance myself from having that G-fam connection. We're going to distance ourselves from having that G-fam connection because we're just kind of doing our thing. The driver said he didn't pull right up to the door of the girls' house, stopping instead on the street out front. He said, I just sort of pulled in front of their driveway. I didn't pull right into the parking lot. I usually try not to do that because that's an easy way to get robbed. I try to stay in positions according to his training, remember? According to my Uber driver training of staying out of suspicious positions, that's what, according to my expertise, my training, I try to stay in positions where I can either go in either direction so I can get away if I have to. It's never happened. But you hear about these things. But on that night, he saw and felt no threat. In fact, he said, I didn't even watch them go all the way in. There were two of them. It's a relatively safe place. It's not something I would usually sit and watch. And in that paragraph right there, not separate interviews, do you hear the contradictions one right after another? I just sort of pulled in their driveway. I didn't pull right in. I usually try not to because that's an easy way to get robbed. I try to stay in positions where I can go in either direction if I have to. It's never happened, but you hear about these things. But hey, there were two of them. I didn't watch them walk up to the door. No reason. It's a relatively safe place. It's not something I do. Sometimes I absolutely will ask or intervene if I feel a kid needs help. A kid. Why? Because you're so much older than these college students, aren't you, Eric? Try a decade, right? And you're going to call them kids. I've taken kids to get their stomach pumped if I feel they have to. This is a college town. These kids are trying to live their lives. We drivers try to look out for them. They don't need to be preyed on. They don't need to be preyed on. Hey, just contact me. I don't want you getting hurt. Eric, love ya. I don't want you getting hurt. The fact that Kaylee Madison and their friends were so brutally attacked within a couple hours of him making the drop off, the driver said, wait on him. Enough to call off for a week, enough to take a week off of work as soon as the crime took place. But hey, we're just drivers. I barely knew them. Not according to Steve G. That's G fam, baby. When I saw the news on Monday, it occurred to me I was in that neighborhood. But wait, you just said days later. But you did say also that next morning, when I saw the news on Monday, it occurred to me I was in that neighborhood. But that was before they released any names. That's interesting that I wouldn't even recognize the house or the parking lot from the footage that they were taking in front of the house. I didn't realize it. More distance. As soon as I knew for sure it was the girls, I went to the police. You didn't even go to the police as soon as you saw the house and the parking lot in the background? I'm telling you right now, Moscow ain't that big. He said, swiftly eliminated from inquiries have provided officers with a wealth of digital data and the timed receipt from the Taco Bell to where he went after dropping the girls back home. In the weeks since the crime, he has watched, he said, with dismay as police have shared little information and the families of the victims have grown increasingly impatient. He said, I took about a week off when I just stepped back from it all. I'm so heartbroken. I took a week off. Those kids deserve justice and they're not getting it. It feels to this community like the police aren't, which is 100% related to how they aren't communicating with the community. People are scared. What's up, Backwood? Most of us have very little faith in the MPD. We can't tell if we are watching qualified investigators who have a handle on the situation if they are completely at a loss and grasping for straws. Even though my wife works for Moscow PD, I'm still going to talk a bunch of shit. Because I'm smarter than them, right? Moscow police have pushed back at the suggestion that the inexperienced officers, the lead investigator, has only been a cop for 2 years, are hampering or have already botched the investigation. No weapon has been recovered, no suspects named, but police are still seeking the occupants of a 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Electra with unknown license plates caught on CCTV in the area near the time. With unknown license plates caught on CCTV. Oh, the Oregon car. Ain't that great? Hey, the Oregon car with all the connections to 1122. Yeah, we got in trouble for exposing that back then. There are now 6 detectives from MPD, yada, 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 yada. All right, let me make sure we're not missing anything else from the private driver here. All right, I think we got it all. Let's get to the next article. And thank you all for being here. Please hit the like if you haven't yet. We got plenty more to go through, and I got another update and some more information when it comes to the real suspect vehicle 1. And then we're going to be doing a members live tomorrow, digging in my raw footage from a year after the crime, because I really feel like when I was there for the vigil and I was there driving around for a week getting footage, I really feel like I'm going to come across this vehicle, and I can't wait to show you the vehicle that I'm going to be looking for sure. This is the other article. I wasn't followed. Idaho rideshare driver comes forward. So this is from the News Nation video. That we watched a little bit ago, but it says a little bit of extra stuff in here. I have a very good memory. I wasn't followed. He says there were no people in their cars with their lights on. It was just a normal night up on Greek Row. I mean, you could hear the thumping from the frat houses down the street, but that's pretty normal. The driver is one of the few rideshare drivers in the city of Moscow, and he said he knew the murdered girls. He had driven them all home in the past. The police apparently didn't call him or seek him out after the murders. However, after learning about the murders on the news, he called the police and turned in digital information, including a timed receipt from a Taco Bell to clear his name. Well, isn't that crazy? Because the Taco Bell was a couple hours after you dropped the girls off. How did you know? How did you know that Taco Bell receipt was going to clear your name? Because it was a couple hours after you dropped the girls off. He was never mentioned or named as a person of interest and was cleared immediately. That means no DNA was tested. Let's play this little video right here. Oh, we got to wait for that commercial. Hold on. We got just a few more links to get through. And then we're going to get to that real suspect vehicle one. More updates. If you guys are just joining the show, check out the show from last night. We go into even more. And actually the night before that too. But last night went through it all.
News out of Moscow, Idaho, as the investigation continues to determine who killed 4 University of Idaho students. The Uber driver who picked up 2 of the victims the night of their murders is confirming with News Nation nothing suspicious happened during their drive home. News Nation's Alex Capriello spoke with the driver about any details he had to share about that night. Alex?
Natasha, good evening to you. For the very first time, we're hearing from this rideshare driver who picked up Kaylee and Maddie right there on the side of the road on the night of the murders. Now, his testimony is incredibly important because it helps build additional context about that ride, as well as establish credibility to the timeline that the police have established.
News Nation tracked down and spoke to the Uber driver who was likely one of the last people to see Idaho murder victims Kaylee Gonsalves and Maddie Mogan alive. In an exclusive conversation with the driver, who asked to remain anonymous, he says he knows Maddie, Kaylee, and Xana and shared what he remembered about the ride, a drive he says he thinks about every single day. I have a very good memory, the driver tells News Nation. I wasn't followed. There was no one there. There was absolutely nothing strange about that street. It was just a normal night on Greek Row. He says Kaylee and Maddie were not nervous or apprehensive in any way. The driver turned himself into the police days later, sharing his GPS coordinates and alibi, critical evidence to prove his innocence.
My husband and I finally agreed that we need
Critical evidence. Let's go take a yonder over at the University of Idaho campus directory. Let's just do a little scrolling. And we get to the section of Trio Inspire. We get to Trio Inspire. Oh, Eric, the program director. Wait, what? Eric, the program director? Huh. That's weird. Well, let's go to the Trio program contacts. Trio Inspired Departmental Grants Administration. Boy, we're all tied up into the University of Idaho, aren't we? Interesting. Bridge, Ohio. You look them up, you can see all this stuff too. We're not going to show that. That's got personal information. Now, let me get to this here. Hold on one second. It refreshed on me. Okay. Oh, ain't that cute? Chief Fry with a cart of groceries at the shopping mall taking a photo with a community member. That's so cute. Let me see here. Because guess who raises money for the University of Idaho as well? Hold on one sec. Oh my gosh. Here, I'm just going to share it with you. This is from 2001. This is the 2001 annual report from the city of Moscow. It's 54 pages. I'm not going to sit there and go through all these. There's the link for it. Eric G's all up in that shit. Now we're going to go to this. Let me go back here. Hold on one second. All right. So now we're going to go to this. Thank you all for being here. Trust me, if you're just joining, hang out with us as we're getting through the show, but you definitely want to go check it out from the beginning, because as soon as we start off and I say hello, we're going through all sorts of stuff. So this is what was interesting to me when these text messages came out. At 2:10, Dylan sends a text message to Eric to inquire if he's driving. The state submits this text message exchange is not hearsay because it will not be offered for the truth of the matter asserted in his driving status. It would be offered to show a timeline for the night that DM was awake and texting at 2:10. From 4:19 to 4:21, DM attempts to call BF and all the other residents. So let me come back up here again. Hey, Eric. So let's go back. Let's go back to the DoorDash. Let's go back to the DoorDash. Because I'm going to turn in the Taco Bell receipt that shows me a Taco Bell that had nothing to do with right when the girls were dropped off, did they? No. DM. Hey, Eric. We're so tight, Eric, that I'm going to ask you if you're still out there driving. Because I'm starving, Eric. I don't think he just ignored it either, Mama. You know why? Because I think Eric said, yeah, I'll swing by and get some food for you and drop it off. I'll swing by and get some food for you and drop it off. Why did DM not say anything? Why was DM in the 911 call, and I'm saying it was DM, trying to suppress the truth that Bethany was trying to say to the 911 operator? Why was DM the one that was shutting the F up about it all? It makes you think. It makes you think. Oh, you guys want to see a photo of DM? Here, let me show you a photo of DM real quick. But anyway, let's get back. You still driving around, Eric? Yeah. Can you get me some food? Sure. While my wife's at home about to have a baby. So, when it comes to everything, oh, looks like a sweet girl, right, Pam? Looks like a sweet girl, right, Pam? Oh, trust me, they're not fake. There's so many photos of these roommates with machetes and all this other stuff. Actually, you guys want to see machete. Let's go through a couple photos real quick. Let's get the machete out. And then we're going to go through some photos here. I thought I had it up already. Just give me one moment. There it is. You want to see what a machete looks like? That's a machete. And guess whose Pinterest page it was on? The same gentleman that we're talking about. Right, Mita? She's still in chat. I want to save it for her. Who was it, Mita, that posted this? It's been deleted. It's been deleted. There we go. I wanted to wait for Mita. I told you this is all about Eric G tonight. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, hold on. So, wait, didn't CJ say something earlier? Didn't CJ say something earlier about a truck that looked... Hold on, let me find that photo too. Oh, crap. Where did I put that? Hold on one second. What's that damn photo? Here it is. My bad. All right. So let's change it to this picture. So you remember when this is when the girls are Mita. Yeah. Exactly. Oh, you want to hear the wounds? I'll have Mabbit describe the scene and the wounds for you too. You see this truck? You guys remember this truck? Remember this truck? Well, CJ said earlier that Eric owns a truck too. I wonder what that truck looks like. I wonder what that truck looks like. Wonder what that truck looks like. That sure does look a lot like this truck, don't it? It's got the thing on the back. It's got the thing on the back. I know Bama, when I was out there, when I went out there for the year anniversary, you want to know what beefy fucking trucks were harassing me when I was leaving the vigil? 4 of them. And I had to go down side streets to get to where I parked because there's all the parking around there was filled up. Had a couple side streets I had to walk to as I was leaving the vigil by myself, and then let's do circles around this block. Oh, we're going down this side. Yeah, let's follow him down here too. And then let's pull up real close and just drive by real slow, all in order. It was like a convoy. It was like a convoy after I left the vigil of 4 fucking trucks. And you know what fucking trucks they were. Why? Because they already knew I was bringing shit up back then. Normally, I got my pistol, but I didn't have my pistol out there. That shit was sketch. Normally, I got my pistol. So again, we're gonna go back to, was Eric ever the neighbor? No, he wasn't. Oh, I would love to be back there, Paco. If I could be back there right now, trust me, I would. Because I could probably get more stuff dug up being out there than I can sitting here over here. I'm a boots on the ground person, man. Like I'm having conversations, I'm making connections, you know what I'm saying? You can only do so much from a desk right now. I've done a lot of work out there already, and I'm thankful for that opportunity. And trust me, I wish I was back there right now because I'd be working it just like I do on any of these locations. All right, so that is the Eric G part of the show. So if you just joined, you definitely want to check it out from the beginning. This is all of the stuff. I wanted to go through everything because I know I've been saying stuff for a couple years. I've been talking about it a lot the last couple nights in my shows. Because there's other people now starting to talk about it that aren't, I don't know if they just haven't dug into it that much or what, but there's a lot of misinformation being spun around again, and it's like, let's just have a little talk about Eric G tonight so everybody could really get caught up from a couple years ago. Now we're going to get to the part of the show, and by the way, hold on one second. Just making sure I went through everything. All right. Now we're done with the Eric part of the show. And I'm sure we'll discuss more as it comes because there's a lot of people talking about it nowadays, recently. And we needed to just put it all out there. So it took us about 2.5 hours, but there was a lot of stuff to get into. Now, I'm going to get into the stuff when it comes to the real, and I'm going to say the real suspect vehicle 1. Okay. Now, this is why I'm sticking, and I'm going to be going off of this photo right here. Okay. There's the timestamp. Right? Weird though. Had a lot to say except about Dylan. Oh, like I said, I'm sure we're going to be talking more about EG because there's a lot of being out there. There's a lot of I'll just say sometimes I let shit slip a little bit in each show. It's up to you if you can catch it. So when it comes to this vehicle, there's a reason when here, let me show you the combo picture too, because while I'm talking about this, I got to show that they're not the same vehicle, and I've said it since I've seen the photo. So let me bring this up. They're not the same vehicle. All right, so this is what they first reported for the first 2 weeks. It was a 2019, 2023 Sentra, Nissan Sentra, that they were reporting in the beginning, and I believe that because they went off, they probably assumed that this chrome strip illuminated, which I did in the beginning too, which then would give this tail light. Okay, it's a continuous light. This right here, these two vehicles are two different vehicles. I've said it from the day the pictures came out. You're not going to tell me any different. This is one of the reasons why I'm going to be starting my members only tomorrow, because I've only uploaded about 10% of my Idaho footage of when I was there for the year anniversary. The same foliage, the same weather, the same darkness of light, the same everything. You get to see what it was like exactly at that moment in time. People can go there in January. People can go there in May. People can go there in July or August, but it's not going to give you the exact daylight, foliage, surrounding, none of it except for that year anniversary, or that year anniversary as it continues to go on. I was there before the house was torn down. This right here is not the same vehicle. So we can all act like we know what time the car was coming into the area, because honestly, we don't even know if this car even needed to pull into the area around when the crime was taking place, because as far as I'm concerned, I don't know. That's why I'm going to dig through the other 90% of my footage. If you remember, and this is why it's for members only first, is because this is what we're going to be digging through footage that I've never even published, that I probably haven't even looked at since I've been in Idaho. The reason I'm digging through it is because we don't know when the person exactly came into the neighborhood. But what we do know is exactly the time that that person left. So when it comes to this car, I'm not interested in it, because I'm interested in this one right here. The reason I'm interested in this one is because we know what time the person left. This vehicle right here is the vehicle that I'm saying is the one that committed the crime. This is why we're going to be digging into my raw footage. So when you're looking at this light, and you can see, as we've done shows the last couple days, we had a huge hell of a show last night. I'll break it down, and I'm going to be breaking some more down tonight, because I told you before, I'm not doing the members only and digging through the raw footage, taking the 4K video, taking screenshots, zooming in, analyzing it all, because I didn't want to have to look for 3 different vehicles. I wanted to just maintain focus on one vehicle, maybe 2, 1 for sure, not much more, because it's already going to take long enough. Like I said, I haven't uploaded 90% of this footage. Nobody's even really seen it. If you're a member already, go to the members tab, scroll down just a month or 2, and you will see I uploaded for you all. There's 3 different parts. The first time that I pulled up to 1122, and you can hear It's intense, you guys. It's intense when you see the footage and you hear me talking and you hear Caddy, my mod. We're talking about this experience, and it's like, oh my gosh. If you remember already, check it out. I'll try and get the link for you before the end of the show. But if not, just go to the membership tab, scroll down a little bit, a month or two, and you will see I finally uploaded after 2 years. I finally uploaded those videos for you. I definitely suggest you to check them out. It will creep you the hell out. You will feel like you're there with me. That's why I did the footage the way that I did it. We're going to be going through stuff that I haven't put out, zooming in on the 4K, screenshotting, digging it down. If you saw how I dug down with these other cases, Sebastian, Micah, all these other cases, we're going to be digging into it. I'm going to need your help. But this is the vehicle, and I'm going to show you some pictures, and I'm going to show you some videos of why this is the vehicle that I'm looking for. Do I know the color? Not exactly right now, but I have a really good idea. The color to me is going to be in between the two colors of the vehicles that I'm showing you, but I'm not worried about the color right now. Because if I'm focused on green and it's actually yellow, you know what I'm saying? What I'm focused on is the car. Then when we dig through my 4K raw footage, then we're going to find out what freaking color this car was. Because like I told you, when I was there for the year anniversary, and I was there for the vigil, and I was there driving around for a week, and I'm sitting there going, I really feel like this person's around here, especially at the vigil. When I'm sitting there at the vigil, and I'm even coming up with game plan actions in case, okay, if I see somebody getting attacked, because it's really dark here, there's a lot of people, anybody can come up and real quick. And I feel like that person was there. And if anybody knows my vibes and how right they usually are, that's why we have freezes and so many of them, because I get these vibes. And shit just starts to click, and I'm like, I really feel like this person was around there. So that's why I'm going back to my footage from the year anniversary, November 8th to November 15th of 2023. I'm going back to that 4K footage. We're going to look. We're going to scan. And we're starting off with the neighborhood, and then we're going to branch out to Moscow. We're going to find this vehicle. Now, I want you all to pay attention to this because this is very important. I'm going to show you this picture here. Now, when it comes to the oval, listen, it's not necessarily an oval. I did this because I want you guys to see. I want you guys to see the kind of light pattern that I'm seeing. And I want you to see the light pattern that I'm going to show you. It's not necessarily an oval. I'm just trying to show you how this light at the top goes straight across, and this light right here comes up and over. So when I take away this red line, let's go back to the original photo here. When I go back to this, now do you see what I'm talking about? It's not necessarily an oval, but do you see what I'm talking about? There's a tail light. It goes straight across, and then the bottom of the tail light curves up and then gets thinner as it goes across, right? Now let me show you the one with the line again. You see what I'm saying? Not necessarily an oval. Don't pay attention to that. That's just where the majority of the taillight is. And you see how it goes straight across, and you see how it comes up and goes over. Now, people want to say that's an Elantra. Guess what? The Elantra does not have a continuous light source that goes from there to there. In fact, if you're seeing the Elantra's rear end on that camera, you're going to see a dot. You're going to see a dot. You're going to see a dot. You're not going to see the continuous light. What you will see, the continuous light, is from this right here. Okay. Now, do you see? And I'm going to show you a video, and you will see it will look just like the picture. Because right now you see the line in the middle, right? You see it's not an oval. Because if you're looking at it from the side, it might look like a little bit of an oval. It's not. You see it go straight across, and you see it come down and curve up and go straight over, right? Now, as I've been examining the different models, this is the model that I'm looking for. When it comes to the lowness, when it comes to the shortness of the vehicle, when it comes to the back window, this is a Dodge Dart. It's going to have these taillights. It's got this triangle back window. And if you want to see that, let me bring back the photo so you can see the window as well. Triangle, back window. Triangle, back window. Not a back window that curves up. Not a back window that curves up. Triangle, back window. All right, so when we go back to here, you got the tail light. You got the triangle back window. It's got some ground effects, and it also has the fog lights, because when you look at these two pictures, there is no illumination on the street. There is with this vehicle, and you don't see a loss of illumination. That's how I know it sits lower, because there's not much room for that light to try and reach the pavement. It's already reaching the pavement. So when we go back to this picture, again, you got the triangle window. Triangle window. Again, you got the continuous tail light that goes straight across, has an oval type shape, not an oval, curves up and goes over. This right here, I believe, is the vehicle, not necessarily the color, but pretty close, is, my opinion, the vehicle that was leaving the crime scene. See the rims? The rims won't even show up in that picture, right? Because they're not going to be reflecting any light. Let's go back to that picture again. You don't see any rims, do you? There's no rims, chrome reflecting off. That's why this model is the model that I'm going after. Because there are some Dodge Darts. I'm trying to go stock first. It could be modified, mama. But I'm going to go stock first, and then I might get led into the modified. But I'm going into the stock first. And so when I'm looking at a stock SRT, this is a 2020 Dodge Dart SRT stock model. And when I'm looking at the stock model, Dodge Dart SRT stock, you add window tint, and that's all you need. Now, you want to hear what the car sounds like. Let's show you some taillights first. I want to show, because there's some questions last night about, hey, the taillights wouldn't show up like that at night. Okay, let me show you something. Okay? Let me show you something. That's why I feel confident that we are going to go through this members only starting tomorrow, because I really feel like we're ready. Let me share this vehicle, or let me share this video. As we sit here and watch these videos, listen to the car, because soon we've already deep dived the grub truck. We've already deep dived Linda Lane a couple years ago. We did all this stuff a couple years ago. Guess what I'm going to be doing again? After we go through this footage of the members only and do that, we're then going to be diving back into grub truck. We're going to be diving back into Linda Lane. We're going to be doing combos, because I'm going to figure out what time these cars were driving by and how long, and I guarantee you that we're going to come up with consistent times over and over and over, because I feel like these girls were watched. Now watch this video as this vehicle drives. Vroom. Oh, wait a minute. There's more. Let me get the next one for you. Here's this one driving at night. Whoa, look at that taillight, right? Look at that taillight, right? Oh my gosh, just 10 feet away from me, those lights morphed together. It couldn't be that, CJ. Bullshit. See how them lights blend together? Yeah, they blend together. Let's go to another video for y'all real quick. What about this one?
What's going on today, guys? So today we're going to be doing an exhaust video on my 2013 Dodge Dart and
my 2014 Dodge Dart.
So it's going to be a little bit different because I do have the stock exhaust. So you're going to see the difference between a stock exhaust versus the Summit Racing exhaust.
All right, so you want to talk about modded exhaust from Summit Racing, and this guy's got stock exhaust.
Peter has. Stock exhaust for the Dart surprisingly isn't bad for a little 4-cylinder car.
They were looking at us like, what?
They probably don't do. They probably are used to it.
Stock exhaust. Amy, that's part of his alias, so when people look him up, they don't see that he's married. Now, like I said, the reason I'm playing this is there's a 2 difference in exhaust. I'm not saying that it's not modded, but what I have to do is I have to start from the bottom. I have to start from stock. Then I'm going up. But at this time, I'm not even saying I'm going to be driving next to him. What I'm going to be looking for is the vehicle being around Moscow during the year anniversary, because if this person is still out there, I guarantee they came back for the year anniversary. So other people, hey, look through all the footage in January you want. Guess what? We're looking through the footage from the year anniversary. I need you guys' help. We're doing members only because it's stuff I haven't published. I haven't even put it out there. I don't even plan on putting it out there, but I want to share it with my members. And I appreciate you guys for being a member. It really means everything. And it's what helps me get to all these locations to be able to do this boots on the ground work. And it means everything to me.
So randomly just going out cruising, we were trying to find out more places to do this video. And me and Peter impromptu kind of found this spot. Looks like we might just end up doing a drag race video. So that might happen. Are you game?
I'm game.
Let's do it. You gonna be our flag girl?
I can be. Be a great flag girl. You ready?
See those taillights? Oh, yeah.
Hey, just go like a little, like go to 60.
Can you hit 60 before that?
Oh.
So there's your difference when it comes to the exhaust. So yes, starting tomorrow, I'm not sure what time yet. I got a protest for Micah that I'm going to be streaming live in the morning. But let me show this picture again. Again, this is the similar model. We're going to be looking for a Dodge Dart. And we're going to be scanning everything. We'll be doing that tomorrow, sometime tomorrow afternoon, evening. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it around noon. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it at 6. Just keep a lookout for it. I'll make a community post when I do. But right here, we're going to be looking for this Dodge Dart. I want to say thank you all for hanging out tonight. If you just checked out the show, please hit the like. If you haven't, if you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. Go to the video tabs. Check out some of the videos we're dropping. If you're a member, keep an eye out for that deep dive as we're going through my footage. And like I said, I probably won't even be publishing it. It's just something that we need to go through. Like I said, I really feel like that person was there during that year anniversary. And this right here, these cars are not the same car. We're going to find the real suspect vehicle, one that was leaving. And I have a really good vibe that we're probably going to come across that car during that year anniversary, because I really feel like they were there. Thank you all for hanging out. I really appreciate it. It means everything to me. Please share it out to your social medias. Hey, this is the real suspect vehicle car, baby. It ain't that one over there. It ain't that white one. It's this guy right here. Thank you all for being a part of the community. Thanks for your help as well. Together, we can make a difference. I'm just one person. When we all get together and do it together, we can definitely make a lot of difference. I just want to say thank you for your support. Thank you for your energy. I hope you all have a peaceful and positive night. We'll see you tomorrow, whether it's the live protest in the morning for Micah, or we're going to be getting into this deep dive. And we got so much more stuff coming for you when it comes to Idaho 4, stuff that we ain't even, I've had planned for 2 years to do it, and I've been boots on the ground working on other cases. We're back. We're rolling with this Idaho 4 like crazy, and there's so many things that I haven't done yet that we got planned to do, and I can't wait. I appreciate you guys. Love you. We'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe, and tell your loved ones, Give them a big hug. Tell them you love them. Because you never know. We may not be here tomorrow. I love you guys.
Okay over there? Is your victim at the hospital? Someone shot there. Alright, the ET doesn't take pictures of the, is it domestic related? We're going to try to give her a call again, and then she just added another phone number to the 13-year-old grandson who's possibly with the daughter. Now that was it.
2412.
I might call it, but they have a female that is up for medication. Detective 12, take a check them out.
Take 145.
Stand for.